town has a ghost story that's been passed down through the generations. But what if those legends were true? My name is Miranda Young, and I'm the Ghost Biker. Hey everyone, and welcome to a special night of Ghost Biker Garage Behind the Screams Live Season 5 finale analysis. We're coming on a special night. I had to cancel last week. I was a little under the weather, but finally I canceled, I guess, the last 2 weeks. And so, it's always cool to be able to carry on the season here into November and do some really cool things with the season here, even though we're not in October. So thank you guys so much for tuning in with us on this special night. We will be back to regular schedule this coming Thursday with a special guest. We'll talk about that here a little bit toward the end. But I've got a special guest here with me tonight, and we are here at the historic Scott County Jail. Last time you guys saw me, we were also here at the live at the historic Scott County Jail. So actually, looks like we've got some bots on here. I'm going to block those. Not really sure that's a new one. But hello, wherever you're coming from in Russia. So hello, Penny. Hello, Broadhead Manor. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope to make it out that way next time I'm up in the Wisconsin area. Hey, Nancy. Hey, Susan. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And so what we're going to do is we're going to break down this past live episode like I did in all the past episodes here in season 5. It's been a good season, Christy. It's enjoyed doing these lives or these episodes here at different jails here throughout the Southeast.
Yeah, you've done a great job. It's been a really fascinating ride, all the jails that you've visited. And this one is actually pretty neat because obviously we're here at the historic Scott County Jail. And it was really cool that you ended with that one. And I thought doing the live 2-hour season finale was a really cool touch. So it's going to be fun to kind of watch this, kind of go through it a little bit more in depth, more so than we did, obviously, what you were doing the live, and kind of break it down and talk a little bit more about the jail.
Yeah. So I invited Christy to come on with me tonight because she did help me film the live, and she is also one of the co-owners here of the historic Scott County Jail. So just going to kind of, in case you didn't watch it, the first hour is on Facebook Live. The second hour is on YouTube. I'm actually working. I meant to have it done before today, but being under the weather, I haven't. Being under the weather, wrapping up here at the jail and remodeling a house, I haven't had time to get those put together. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm in the process of going in and transcribing all the episodes with the 2 lives with everything that was captured, putting in the closed captioning and such. And so that will be up this week. They'll both be on the Facebook page and the YouTube channel where you can go and watch them as 2 separate lives. So what we're going to do tonight, we're not going to watch the entire episodes, but we are going to hit some of the highlights. And so if you guys tuned in to that live, if there's certain things that you noticed or that you remembered, put those there in the comments. If you have any questions, put those in the comments as well. And if you don't mind, put them in all caps, just so as I'm going back, I'm able to find your question immediately. So, and thank you, Nancy. Yes, I am feeling much, much better. I wanted to be able to talk when I was on here, and so I didn't have much of a voice the last little bit. So again, thank you guys so much for the messages and everyone that's reached out. It's very touching to know you're missed whenever you can't make a week online. So I do definitely appreciate that. A lot of interesting things going on at the jail. Just going to kind of mention a few things before we get started and get into this. We wrapped up a great October, had some wonderful teams here, some great people who came in and did some of our flashlight tours, our guided ghost walks, got to meet and see some really cool people that month, do some cool events, kind of leading into some of our Christmas things that we have going on here. What's some of the cool things we got going on, Christy?
Well, I mean, like you said, our paranormal teams have been awesome the last couple of weeks. We've had some great teams here, and the jail has been extremely active, which I mean, that's really cool. You know, we experience it on a daily basis, but to have teams come in and really kind of highlight and capture some of the same things that we hear on a daily basis has been really cool. So hopefully they'll be sharing some of their evidence here in the next couple of weeks, and we'll be able to share those out to you. As Miranda said, we're going to be doing some great things for November and December. Our guided ghost hunts, our Goes to the Past at Christmas walks, which are extremely popular. The town of Huntsville has put up more Christmas lights than they did last year. So we'll be taking a trip through those, a walk through those lights and telling you about the history of Huntsville, about the ghost stories that surround the town and the jail. So be looking for those on our calendar. We should have those up by Tuesday. And then Friday, we're doing something kind of fun. We've got two big events on Friday. We actually have a really cool group from Roane State coming. They're going to be doing our escape room, which is going to be a lot of fun, and they'll be taking a specialized tour of the jail. But then Sheriff Brian Keaton has asked if we would allow him to use our jail for his jail-a-thon, and all of the proceeds go to Shop with a Cop. So we will be releasing more information on that tomorrow. We've got a final planning meeting with them tomorrow. But Friday the 18th, we will be having a jail-a-thon here, and I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And guys, Shop with a Cop is something that's extremely important through all these different communities. But speaking from here in rural Appalachia, I mean, this is really important to a lot of kids in the area. So I know a lot of you went on the Ghost Biker Harley ride that we did up in Kentucky, and there's Sally, that we did a few weeks ago. The money went to the London Laurel County Shop with a Cop, and so of course this one that's coming up is going to come to the local Scott County Shop with a Cop. So be on the lookout for that information. We're going to have that up. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the guided ghost walks are probably going to start next weekend.
Yep.
After Thanksgiving.
Yep.
So
Be on the lookout for those, because they are a lot of fun. You know, we have hot chocolate, and we tell you some really cool stories. And again, you really get to enjoy the lights here in Huntsville, because Huntsville does do a really good job of going all out with Christmas lights. So it looks really beautiful here right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad they've got those up. It just adds that little bit of festiveness once you get out of Halloween. Yeah, festiveness.
I like it.
Also, just going to kind of mention, we are beefing up our gift shop here at the historic Scott County Jail. Going to be making some announcements of some new partnerships with some new vendors that we do have here. Also, speaking of gift shop stuff, got the new Ghost Biker hoodie. These are charcoal gray, and they will be up on the website early this week. We've had some people that have gone to some of the different events and got some of the new sweatshirts. So just want to make mention of that. If you're looking for a Christmas gift, we got stuff here at the jail. We've also got stuff on the Ghost Biker website, drawings, all kinds of cool things. So just kind of keep us in mind whenever you're doing your shopping and shopping small business and such. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and get to what we're here for tonight. Like I said, I really do enjoy being able to sit down, break down these episodes, talk about some of the different stuff that happened on some of these investigations. And of course, this one being a little different and a little bit special by doing it as a live. I love doing live investigations because you never know what's going to happen. And the jail did not disappoint. Mm-hmm. Like Christy said a little bit earlier, it's been extremely active the last little bit, and you never know whenever the cameras come on how things are going to go. And that night, I mean, it was active the entire 2 hours that we were here. Mm-hmm. And sorry, I've got some brain fog, so bear with me as I stumble through and repeat myself. I'm still, like I said, still getting over it. But but yeah, just a little brief history. We did cover that in the episode. The historic Scott County Jail was built in 1904. It was in operation until 2008. It sat vacant from 2008 until they got the tourism grant in 2017. And then in 2021, Dr. Christy Sumner and I came in. We formed History, Highways, and Haunts, opened the historic Scott County Jail True Crime Museum during the day and Paranormal Research Center during the evening. And so we've been really enjoying learning about all the different spirits that still reside here. There are quite a few that we come in contact with on a daily basis. Couple of them that I mentioned during the investigation was Sheriff Richard Ellis, who was killed right out in front of the front door there by a moonshiner. Also several different inmates who were lynched from the property. We've had 7 of those in total. And we didn't go and try to communicate with really any specific spirit or tell a specific story when we were here, because when a jail's been open for as long as this one has, there are a lot of different stories and a lot of different spirits that you could come into contact with. So I'm going to go ahead and start the first hour here. I'm going to kind of skip ahead just a little bit because we do tell the story. Just to kind of mention, the jail is 3 stories. It's shaped like a castle. The first story here, this is the original jailer's quarters. The second story was originally maximum security, but then after the fire in 1922, it was turned into a trustee floor. So there are 3 dorm-style trustee cells, a kitchen up there, and then the 3rd floor is maximum security. There's 7 cells up there, as well as the very large, it's a women's cell, also the cell where some of the sex offenders and stuff were later held at. So upstairs is truly a maximum security area. So we actually start on that 3rd floor. So let me, like I said, bear with me as I...
Yeah, so while you're doing that, I'd like to address Broadhead Manors, where they said that they've had activity as well. What's really cool about the historic Scott County Jail is we have teams that are coming in and they're getting almost the exact same thing in the same locations. For example, we've got a spirit here in our kitchen that hangs out in our kitchen. We just started affectionately calling him Chef Dan, and it's interesting that a lot of teams have come in and on the spirit box, on different things, are getting a reference to a Dan or a chef. And so it's really cool that while our activity is, for us, it's very consistent. It's also consistent in specific locations, and teams are getting the same things, which to me is really kind of fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a lot of teams that have come in that's actually been able to validate what other teams have been capturing here. And so to be able to show this and highlight this in this episode, it's really cool. And so, thank you for addressing that, Christy. And thank you there for confirming that at your location as well. So like I said, I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit. I'll be playing some with sound, be playing some without, talking over it. And like I said, if you watched and there were some things you heard, please just feel free to mention that. So of course, we made our way up to the 3rd floor. And I was very out of breath. So I'm actually going to go ahead and, because it kind of starts right over in here. So I'm going to go ahead and start this. We'll just kind of talk through that, Christy. I don't know if you can see it. So we're actually, what do you think? We start over here or in the back? Did you hear that?
Flashlight just went off. We can start back there.
Back where?
There. Joe said to breathe.
Yeah. Yeah. So the way this jail is set up here on the 3rd floor is we have 7 maximum security cells and 1 big main cell over here that was used as a women's cell, as well as administrative segregation cell for more of the harsher offenders against women and children. And so this hall is really cool because right around 9 o'clock, as well as the top of the hour throughout the night, when we're doing tours, we often hear footsteps up here.
And some of the
Really
best
cool
examples
residual
of footsteps that
So
I've ever
we're gonna
heard
try
have come from
hearing
this
a little
jail.
bit,
And I'm
listen
not
to
just,
that.
saying that because I'm a co-owner, but we have some great examples of footsteps here. And what's interesting about what Miranda's doing is, we had some equipment set up before she started her live. So to have some of these things set up there was really kind of interesting because it seemed like they started going off or indicating thing that was going on pretty quickly once we got up here.
They did. And, just in the essence of time, wanted to go ahead and preset things up. And because we were here probably, I guess, an hour before we got started, maybe an hour and a half. And things started from about the time we walked right in the door. Was able to try out some really cool new tools that night. The tripwire that's there on the floor. I know that's something that going to be making an investment in between
Absolutely.
both myself and Dr. Sumner here. They'll probably be using it here at the jail a lot, as well as on our personal investigations. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, they're a really cool tool. If you don't know what a tripwire is, this strand here is about 12 feet long, and each of these individual light pods, those are each individual EMF meters, right? So the idea is you string them along, and if an entity is in that area, theoretically it could set it off. I know when Miranda was here in this section, we didn't have too much luck with it, but on the second floor, it was fascinating to watch these things in action.
Yeah, and the very first time I had used those, we were getting crazy activity in this specific cell block here. And they do light up independently of each other whenever some type of EMF activity reacts on those specific meters.
Right.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and start the sound here in a few minutes because we were getting a lot of really intelligent responses to these flashlights here. If you watch a show, I really enjoy using flashlights, and especially when we're able to get them to go off at the same time. So let me go ahead and kind of start that. Can you turn the light on down there in the administrative segregation cell? If you're down there by yourself, can you turn that flashlight on? All right. Okay. Can you turn that one off on the count of 3? 1, 2, 3. Go ahead and step on back. I want to ask you some questions. All right. Now, Big Roy, are you here? Are you the one who's talking to us tonight? And so just to kind of mention, that first cell over there on the end is administrative segregation. And there are 3 cells in this one particular cell block. And the one on the very end is the one that belongs to a guy that we've gotten responses from, known as Big Roy.
And I think the tripwire and SLS combo would be pretty neat to use.
Sorry, my phone is buzzing while we were filming.
Thank you, Roy. We're going to do this as well. Just a little something else you can use.
So it's interesting because the spirit that's in this cell, we found that he's particularly interested in speaking with women. So teams that have women on them or an all-female team seem to get a lot of responses here in this location.
Yeah. And he's one, once you can get him to talking, he likes to respond intelligently to different items that we use. He seems to definitely like flashlights, but he really also likes REM pods as well as the tripwire. And so I actually stopped the sound on this part because we do get a lot of responses with the flashlights. Should I go ahead and play this, Chris, or
Sure.
jump on ahead to the...
Yeah, play for a little bit longer.
Okay.
How about Nashville? Oh. So you were sent to Nashville?
That's very appropriate, Larry.
Oh, we've got a cold temperature spike as well as a pressure change. I found whenever the pressure changes, and another one. I found whenever the pressure changes, that usually sometimes something happens. All right, so you were sent to Nashville. Were any of you sent to the Bend?
And we're not
You guys
exactly
spent
sure
time
who
in the Bend?
Big Roy is, but it's interesting that a lot of
George said he
teams
heard
have had
an
that
EVP of
response.
no.
Okay, thank you, Joe. And what we'll do is we'll go back, review this, and see what we can do. We are also going to move these tripwires because there's a few places I want to try them. Can you just show us that these are working? Can you reach down and touch one of those? It'll turn it a pretty color. Would anyone like for me to open their cell?
That is Sally purring, if you can hear her on our microphone.
All right. Now, we will go to another section here in a few minutes because there's a lot of stuff we want to try. And I'm going to open your cell, but don't worry.
Here we go.
Oh, the lights will turn on. They want their cell open too. And if you have to turn the light on at any point in time.
So at this point, all of the, when we ask about opening the door, all three of the flashlights turn their light on.
Their cells. All right, so down there in segregation, I'll go open your cell door. Can you flash that light for me when I come down here? No, that's cool. All right.
Lisa says, well,
All right.
And there were several different voices on this that we do
Anybody else
pick
want
up
their
on
cell
here.
door open?
Like I said, I will have that transcribed later this week.
yep, Roy.
All right. Now, you guys gotta behave. All right. Now, I am gonna take this with me. All right, if you're happy to open your cell door, please turn that light off. Can you turn it off on the count of 3? 1, 2, 3. If you'll go ahead and turn it off, all you gotta do is sit back from it. Guys, I don't think you understand just how many flashlights up this jail tonight. Oh, look. This one's flashing too.
Sorry, Kim.
So again, that was something that we had heard in the moment. It seemed to come down from that hallway.
That one turned off. Now we got
And this is
all
common.
the
I mean,
cell
we hear things up there on the 3rd floor all the time.
Okay, Roy. Does anybody ask any questions?
And that was some kind of bang
No, people are just saying.
in the
well.
hall.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to knock. If anybody in here in the jail, will be really quiet. If anybody in here in the jail can hear me, please knock back.
Cindy said they're playing with us.
Yeah. Look, that one's flashing on and on.
That one just turned on.
This has been the first time in a while I've had all 3 flashlights interacting like this in this area. All right, guys. Does anybody want some, anybody want some
That's
food?
good question, D Hoot. We do get our names called here often, and actually, when I was going back and listening to this, there
Does
is a
anybody
section
want-
Yep.
where it sounds like somebody
Okay,
does
all
say
right,
my
we'll get some
name
food here
at
in a
one
few
point.
minutes.
But
I have
yeah,
all
we
these
get that.
sandwiches tonight. Is that
very
Okay.
common.
Mhm.
We also have sometimes different paranormal teams who will come down and get us during the investigations because they'll say that either their EMF lights, their tripwires, or whatever went off when they mentioned our name and wanted to talk to us.
Janet says, can you
So-
direct them to turn on or off a certain flashlight?
So we do have that happen.
All right. Okay, so can you turn the person who is down in the there's Roy. Roy, step back, please.
Solitary confinement's on.
Okay, that was what I was gonna ask, turn on. All right, can you flash that down in solitary?
There it is.
Wow.
Nice.
That's cool.
Thank
On
you.
command.
Can you flash yours, Roy? Can you flash that twice for me? That temperature's staying pretty steady.
There you go.
Thanks, Roy.
Flash
Thank
twice.
you, Roy. All right. Do you guys?
Is that you?
No,
What was that?
I don't know. It sounds like a man.
Can you make that noise again?
Do what? That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Chuck said nice. Nancy Williams says Tennessee is known for moonshine.
That's right.
There was another comment, but I missed it.
If you need to scroll, I think you can scroll when it's live, I think.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Like I said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. All right, as I was saying, the man down in solitary confinement, can you? Roy doesn't want to be ignored tonight.
It did seem like every time we started talking to the others, Roy would turn his light on.
1, 2, 3. Is this Roy we're talking to? Or is it somebody else? What was that? Oh my gosh. Did anybody hear that? That was a man's voice.
Yeah.
You need to turn the light on, or can you see? Okay, we heard you. To me, that sounded like that was coming from back behind there. Over there. Yeah. Can you knock her again? See my flashlight.
Thank you, David. We appreciate that.
Can you walk down this way towards our voices?
This live was really fun to do here.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Roy, can you do this? I will do my time, okay?
$9.20.
Oh, the solitary's on.
Yeah. You want to go try the women's cell?
Yeah. Okay, guys, we're gonna go over to the women's cell. We will be back. Can you turn your light off?
This is probably one of my favorite
Can you
parts
turn it off on
coming
the-
up right here.
1, 2, 3. Okay, I get it. Oh, this one just turned on. This one's very dim. All right, thank you.
Can anybody touch one of the purple lights on the floor if you can hear us? Please?
Now, I'm not crack your food.
You know you can touch that light. How about the purple lights on the floor?
All right, guys, we're gonna go talk to the women or to the other guys down there. I'm gonna bring you guys some food here in a little bit. I'll take the, I don't know if I need to turn that on.
Yeah.
Light.
There was a voice right there.
Now, this is interesting because, I mean, we hear door slams a lot, but this is really kind of crazy how this happens here coming up.
And I'll
All
get
right,
to your
guys,
question in
again,
a second,
we'll-
Nancy, right after.
You need to change the direction of it. All right. All right. So we're gonna.
Crap.
I mean, because you were way out of there when
Yeah.
it slammed.
Uh-huh. And the fact that the flashlight didn't move
Yeah.
Oh,
is kind of interesting. Oh, not kind of. It's very interesting because
I'm gonna play that again.
flashlight should have rolled.
Because we
Can you
do
shut
get
the other one?
reverb when that stuff slams.
Mhm.
So I just want to play that again right quick.
this one's very dim. All right, thank you.
Can anybody touch
Yeah,
one
it
of the
scared
purple
us too,
lights on
Nancy.
the floor if you can hear us?
I think I went a little too
Please.
far.
Yeah. And Nancy, for me personally, I do feel like they're watching us and that
Sorry,
they're with
guys,
us.
the
I don't
game's
feel like
weird.
they're playing with us per
You
se.
need to change the direction.
I just feel like they're really trying to get our attention.
Mhm.
Now I kind of move out.
All right. So we're gonna.
Crap.
I mean, it actually hits three
Yeah,
times.
and this flashlight didn't
Oh,
move.
gosh.
Again, you would expect if that door slammed 3 times that flashlight would have rolled.
Crazy.
Or that it would even be turned on.
Hmm.
Can
So
you shut the other one?
I mean, to me, that also just goes to show that they're sensitive, but you would think if it was because based on
Can you shut that one
movement
now, please?
rather than it touching it, it would be jarred on.
mhm.
Y'all, that was the door being slammed shut.
It was this door right
That door looks
here.
further open
That
to
door
me,
right there.
Solitary
too.
confinement. It didn't even knock the flashlight off.
And the flashlight is still on that door. It didn't even knock it off.
Wow.
Holy
Okay,
crap.
that was a little wild. Oh, now it's turning the flashlight on.
It's like, hey, I'm here.
Can you open? Oh, Roy's got his on. I mean, the thing is shut.
Yeah, and Tim, we get that a lot. I mean, that the door slamming up here is something
Sorry
that is
about
so
that.
common.
Sorry about the S-bomb, folks.
Yeah, we've had some investigators that have actually, that scares me every time.
Yeah, okay.
We've had some investigators actually catch it on camera opening.
So we're gonna go on in here. Like I said, there's a couple different cell blocks over here. That's the one we've got our escape room set up in. There is a reported suicide that did take place in there. This room is interesting.
Hey, Holly. Holly's on.
Oh, hey, Holly.
Lisa said that scared her so bad she almost threw her computer.
That was loud, right? But I thought they were gonna reach out and grab you. All right, so just a little brief history.
So
on
we
this
don't have to
room.
hear the history
So
on the
this
room.
room,
But this room particularly is one that started out as one of our most active areas. Now, a lot of teams do like to congregate in there just because it is a much bigger room. It has 4 beds in there. It did hold up to 6 inmates. Sometimes during overcrowding, it had more than that. But music is something that is extremely popular in this room that stimulates a lot of activity. Now, we didn't want to play music during the live just because didn't want to get a copyright ding or get my sound taken away while we were doing that. So a lot of the time, the music does tend to trigger the K2s. They tend to trigger REM pods, flashlights. And what's interesting about this, because obviously, phones and stuff react on K2 meters and everything, but we always tell teams that if you're musically inclined or if you're not and you just like to sing, people will bring guitars, banjos, harmonicas, different instruments, and they'll also sing. And you get the same, sometimes, if not more, activity whenever people are vocally singing rather than just actually playing music in this particular room. And so I am not a singer, even though if you come by on any given time, whenever we're closed, I do like to test out the acoustics and sing rather loudly when I'm cleaning up there. But in this particular one, I did hum some Amazing Grace, just because, like I said, I didn't want to get a copyright strike. And I thought the K2s reacted rather interesting in
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah, and as Miranda said, this is a room that is extremely jovial. It's a room, or it's a cell where they like it if teams cut up. They like it if teams are laughing or telling jokes. They really seem to respond to a more upbeat type of environment, more so than anything negative. We don't allow teams to do anything negative, but if teams are just trying to ask their standard questions, if you can be more jovial, this cell and the spirits in this cell really respond to that. It's very fascinating to watch, actually.
It was kind of accidental that we actually found that on this one, because obviously when you go into a room, you start with both of us, with our techniques of investigating, a lot of the time we're just having conversation. But of course, when you start doing almost an interrogation type style investigation anywhere here in the jail, you get a different kind of response. And so in this room, they do tend to kind of shut down whenever you're doing a more interrogation style investigation. But when we started just having these conversations and kind of trying to find out, well, what's going to make you communicate with us, and we started using different types of music, that kind of led us to sort of joking around with each other. And then, of course, if you've got some guys in there and if they act kind of flirty sometimes toward the spirits, I think one guy was kind of joking about taking his shirt off, and they started getting, we started getting a lot of activity. So we found that if you just really kind of just have a casual cut up kind of conversation, they tend to respond a lot better in this room.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. And yes, thank you, Nancy. Appreciate that. Yes, definitely. Please, share the show. We really definitely appreciate that. And once we get the new episodes posted up there this week, please share those out. That helps us here at the jail. It also helps with Ghost Biker Explorations. And I do just want to say, speaking of the jail, we do have dates open in November and December. Just because it's not spooky season doesn't mean, we're not open for investigating. We've also got heat here. So, so take advantage of some of our last minute dates that we have open here at the end of the year, and bring in Christmas the old fashioned way by telling ghost stories and having some spirit activity. So I'm going to play for just a few minutes this, even though you're going to hear my horrible humming. You will see how the stuff respond.
Let me do another verse.
Wow.
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 Wow, they're all three. All right. If you want to do another verse, step back.
Wow.
And I don't think it's really showing just how.
Like
Yeah.
I said, I am not a singer, and definitely not tonight while I'm sitting here. I should have brought my harmonica.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, so
Yeah, thank you, Tom.
as I said,
That means a
if you
lot.
have those flashlights up, I appreciate that.
Even just for the history for the day, even if you don't come and do an investigation, you're going to take in a lot of history. You can really see the one on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Thirsty?
I am. I'm probably distracting myself for my singing.
Yeah, they're definitely spiking. All three of them.
So I'm actually, since there's a little bit of humming going on here, I'm going to mute that and we'll answer a few questions because we continue this through a couple different verses because we want to see if it's my humming or if it's not that's causing that. So yeah, Nancy says, I wonder how they would respond to current news. That's interesting. I know some different teams have
Mhm.
played news. I'm trying to remember, have you and I?
We have not. That's a great question. They really respond to old newspapers. So we have a lot of historical newspapers set up around the jail. And they really respond when we start reading those. I mean, everything from spirit boxes to REM pods to Ovilus, flashlights. They all respond when we start reading those newspapers. But we've never tried current news. That'd be a really cool experiment.
Mm-hmm. I know that it's interesting. I know that kind of flashing back to past episodes, the Ma Barker house, we had an instance where we were reading some actually currently late breaking news. It was a police involved shooting. And of course, if you know the Ma Barker story where they were shot by the FBI or killed by the FBI, it actually created a lot of activity right in that moment. So I would imagine we very easily could get that same type of response here. And to answer your question, Mitchell, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm feeling much, much better, almost 100%. You can watch it on YouTube later. Currently, right now, this first part that's right here is on Facebook. But probably, if not tomorrow, by Tuesday, I will have both the first hour of Facebook there on YouTube as well as YouTube on there, broken down into episodes. And then Larry from Expedition Entity, you definitely need to come down here and shoot an episode. We hope that you and Dan will be able to get your schedule worked out to come in season 3. If not, definitely come by season 4. So we'd love to have you guys down here. Thank you, David. I appreciate that. And then let's see. Tom says, what is that laser thing you use? It looks like it's projecting pinpoints. So we were going to do it on the live, but we didn't. We do have a laser grid that I use that I plug into an external battery, but you can get them where they're little push button lasers. We see a lot of shadow figure and shadow play whenever we do the laser grid. We just didn't set it up in this one, but definitely recommend. That's a tool that I think I've got 6 or 7 of those little laser grids that I like to put out. Works really good here on the 3rd floor as well as in the foyer section here on the 2nd floor. And let's see. I'm trying to remember. I know we hummed a couple verses. Let's see here. I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit and see what's going on.
All right. Can you turn the other one on too? You're welcome to come with us over there.
So you got the flashlight and the K2 going off, which is kind of interesting.
Can you turn that flashlight off and maybe turn the other one on? 1, 2, 3.
It was interesting. We kept
That's probably me.
going in and out of
Exasperated with
focus
this phone 'cause
as well
it's
on this
going
one.
in and out.
You may have to touch it.
Hold still.
Does it?
Hold still. There. It doesn't do it on live.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna go over here. So like a lot of rural county jails in the South, there was issues with mob mountain justice. And so all of the jails that we've highlighted this season have had issues with that. One in particular that we're going to be communicating with tonight is Mr. Jerome Boyd. He is probably one of our most famous inmates from here at the jail. And under unfortunate circumstances, he was taken by a mob we've heard 25, we've heard 50 masked men busted into the jail, took him and his cellie, Harvey Winchester, out of the jail here and brutally lynched and murdered them. Now, they had both had killed cops in unrelated offenses. Harvey Winchester had been here about 8 months before Jerome Boyd came in. Jerome Boyd had been here about 8 days when he was taken out. Jerome's dad was also lynched. And so we have more information on that story, but we do get a lot of activity here from Jerome Boyd as well as Harvey Winchester. So we're going to come over here to their cell block. Oh, we've got flashlights on over there. I'm going to come over here and try a couple things.
There was battery drainage, Nancy,
So,
especially in the
you
second
guys tell
hour.
me what you want to do. So we've got, this cell here was Jerome Boyd and Harvey Winchester's cell from the information that we received, or at least in this area. And that would have been back in 1933. So we've got 2 cells in this cell block. We've also got flashlights. Do you want to turn these K2s on?
It was interesting that in this section, we did not get any
Can
K2
you guys see this?
just a
okay?
Just a
little bit.
couple, yeah, just a
Yeah.
couple.
and no flashlight activity.
Mhm. It seems that Jerome and Harvey in this section, their spirits really,
So we're just gonna stand that one up.
they're more gun shy with technology, and by that I mean if you're filming it. But we bring flashlight groups into here, or when paranormal investigators are in here and they're just either talking or setting up. That seems to be where we get a bulk of the activity. But sometimes when we're filming, it seems like they just don't want that to come across, which is kind of interesting. But Jerome and Harvey are 2 of the, as Miranda said, 2 of the most infamous inmates that we had that were lynched from here. But they seem to be very active in this cell.
Yeah, and frequencies seem to
Yeah,
work really
yeah.
well in here if you're experimenting at all with frequency meters. That seems to work really well. We found was it a flashlight tour or a guided ghost hunt? It was a guided ghost hunt. We had it seemed like President
Oh,
Roosevelt
yeah.
really pulled out when we started talking about revenuers and different presidents. We were getting a lot of responses for that in this particular cell. Like I said, and she really, Christy really nailed a point a few minutes ago about the fact that as far as the technology, whenever we're filming, we don't seem to get as much
Mhm.
from those guys. So battery drain, I wanted to kind of hit on that too, that Nancy Weems mentioned. This past weekend, we actually had a team that came in, and I always like to ask when they're here if they have any equipment issues. The guy this past weekend, he actually said that his entire backpack of equipment was drained. And so I know investigators take a lot of time charging and changing batteries out before they go on an investigation. So, it's very uncommon for somebody to come into this location with no battery on their items, but it is very common to have it drained once you get into the location and start investigating. Cameras, when Vicki was here, she had that brand new camera.
Mhm.
It wouldn't take photos or record while she was in here. And I'm trying to remember if there was very much in
They're
this
really
section.
not. There's a couple of K2s hits, but more just kind of talking to see if we can get in contact with them. But it's really when we go down to the second floor.
That's what I'm thinking. So I'm actually going to kind of skip this part right here and go ahead, because we did do some stuff. Jerome, he was playing cards on the train whenever the shootout took place. And so we like to use cards up here. We like to use moonshine. There's different items we do like to use. And again, we just really didn't have much activity with that this time. So I'm going to stop this. Let me queue up the, excuse me, the YouTube version here, the second hour. We'll go ahead and get that going. So it was really pretty cool to be able to,
Let's see here.
there we go, pull both,
Crazy mug. There
um,
you go.
Okay, I don't know if you guys can see
pull
me or
both
not, if
platforms
there's anybody here.
into the,
For some reason, YouTube is not
into the
letting
live
me
investigation.
go live in the live that I had set up because it's supposed to be with your laptop. So we're just going live here on the channel on our own. So if there's anybody on there.
So then when we go downstairs, what we did is we took the
just let me know.
tripwire and all of that, we just kind of moved it down into the second floor. And I think we got some interesting results down here, which is typical of the jail. The jail just really likes to talk here on the second floor, some of where a lot of teams get some of their best evidence.
For me personally, the second floor is probably my favorite place
Yeah.
because it is the creepiest.
Yeah.
Nothing malevolent, anything like that. But it is a darker floor. A lot of people who have been here do claim that it does give heavier feelings.
Now, throughout the history of the jail, we know of at least 5 suicides that have happened here. As Miranda said, we've had lynchings. We know of 7 lynchings that happened from the jail, as well as natural deaths, heart attacks, strokes, and such. And so I think there's, on this floor in particular, I think we make contact with at least 4 or 5 of those entities on any given night. And it seems to be that at least 3 of them are very prevalent for most of the teams that come in.
Mm-hmm. And shadow figures are
Mhm.
something that is very common on all 3 floors. It truly just started out on the second floor, but then we were getting reports from different officers and different jailers who worked here that while they were working here, they were seeing shadow figures up on the 3rd floor. So this is something very common that we do get here in the cafeteria, in the kitchen. I'll set flashlights up in certain places and they'll turn on and off with each other. There's times we've been able to get them to go off in a circle, get them to go off on command when you start calling each one. So this is something very common in this area. Something also that they do like on this second floor, if you're inside of the foyer area, they'll tend to stay in the cells and turn the tools on. Now, if you go inside of a cell and put your tools out there in the foyer, they'll start doing it that way. They really seem to take a standoffish approach. They like their distance on this floor until they get relaxed and comfortable with you. And then other times they'll come into the room with you and communicate. So especially here in the kitchen and in that laundry room. While I'm setting that up, was there anything else that I missed on this second floor?
Well, the second floor, I think she said that this is the trustee cells. These are the trustee cells. So the second floor is really comprised of these 3 large dorm style cells and then 1 large kitchen. So it may seem kind of a small location, but the paranormal activity that we are able to get out of just these 3 cells down here on the second floor, to us is pretty incredible because it's consistent. Consistently in the same location. We're consistently talking to the same entity. We feel the same entity, and consistently teams are getting some interesting results when they come.
That room in that far corner that I'm stepping into right there, that is one we do know of a confirmed suicide in that room. There is a gentleman that likes to sit on that bottom bunk. He will rock back and forth. People have seen him. There's also a full body apparition on this floor. I myself have seen him there at the kitchen. He, for some reason, he likes to sit and watch people. I don't know if he's one that does speak or interact a whole lot, but if you're looking at photos on the walls on this floor, you will often see him either pass by or you'll see him looking back at you from maybe over your shoulder. It's really kind of creepy. But he, for some reason, he likes to kind of watch in the background. This is also the floor. If you've watched our podcast we've talked about this very, very often, that the photo got ripped off the wall. There is a woman that says help here on this floor. I mean, there is a lot of activity focused on this floor. And I think for me, that's why I like it so much, just because there's such a variety of activity up here. I mean, a lot of people tend to think maximum security, you've got your murderers and your worst of the worst, but that's not necessarily true. We've had a couple very long-term serving trustees on this level that were in here for murder. And then also with before the fire, this was maximum security. So you do get such a wide variety of activity in this area. I think that's why I like it. Plus, I think it's the creepiest part of the jail. So I'm going to fast forward again just a little bit as I'm setting that up. Wanted to just take a few minutes to talk about it.
There we go.
All right.
There we are.
Did you hear the door slam? That flashlight there just flashed. If you
Hey,
heard
Vicky.
the door slam, touch your little light. Were you the one that slammed that door? If you
Hey, Dee Dee.
seen it,
Um,
light up.
and yes,
This
Nancy,
is
the kitchen
I'm
chef
holding
Dan
up
is very active there.
some cold breeze. I'm holding up some fingers here. Can you turn on?
There we go.
Okay. I don't know if there was. Can you turn this many lights on? Just for the people who are watching, I'm holding up 2 fingers. I don't know if you got a flashlight in the kitchen, turn it on.
I'm not used to investigating in complete darkness on my videos. A lot of the time we have a little bit of ambient light, but we wanted to make sure you were able to be oriented to see how things are, and then also really be able during the live to see the lights flashing. And it's kind of hard to do sometimes with ambient light.
Now, the flashlight just flashed 3 times in there. Did you see that?
Yeah, I can see the reflection on it.
There was a disembodied voice.
Hmm.
There was a disembodied
Are
voice.
you a sheriff?
Are you a trustee? Did you work here in the jail?
Oh,
Steve.
nice.
Thank you. All right, so you worked here.
Nice.
All right. Were you a man? If you were a man, light up your light blue. If you were a woman, light it up green. Oh, my flashlight just turned on in there.
Do you have any idea on how they're stuck here between worlds?
That's a complex question. Personally, I believe a lot of what we're dealing with is energy, displaced energy.
Nice,
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you. I believe we're dealing with displaced energy, and that, wow, all the lights in the kitchen are on.
And Tom, to answer
Dan,
your
is that
question, they're active day and night.
You know we're talking about you?
Different kinds of activity. Sometimes during the day, they tend to be, it's more like your
I'll
residual
definitely address that.
daytime
question
activities
Thursday
going on.
night, during our
But
live
we
stream.
even have
So
people
we're
come in
talking
for the
about that.
daytime tours that
Thursday night, I'm
get
gonna be
things
streaming.
that happen whenever
Address
they're
that
up on the
question. Very good
floors
question.
reading the articles.
Can they
and
turn
such.
on other lights other than your flashlights? Well, the fact that they're turning on these tripwires is amazing.
Now, also, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Now,
I don't know, I
do
wanna
have,
Yeah,
the
play that one more
SLS
time.
play
down
that one more
here,
time.
which I'll pull out here in a few minutes. So remind me about that. On Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, I will address that question. It's a very good question.
Can they turn on other lights other than your flashlights? Well, the fact that they're turning on these tripwires is amazing.
Now, I've also got, did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Hmm.
Now, I do have the SLS down here,
Wow.
which I'll pull out here in a few minutes. Is there anybody down here that wants some food? If you would like some food, please touch one of your lights.
Man,
My
that
stomach
hurt.
is wanting to growl.
That was crazy. Amanda.
Talking about food.
The light in the kitchen just turned on there. We're gonna do something here in a little bit that this floor was really known for the last little bit, is they can intelligently turn the flashlights on in a circle. We'll do that here in just a little bit. Yeah, we've got both of them turning on in there. And then a lot of the time they wanna turn this one that's on like home does. Is there anybody in this room? If you're in this room, can you turn your light on? I want to step out in the hall and see, is it okay if I come out here and sit in the middle?
And we get that a lot, Mitchell.
Mhm.
Oh,
Thank you.
This one turned blue over here, and that one turned blue. Right in front of both of these doors. And
That's
so
what I
these
love
trip
about
wires are
those
cool
trip
because
wires.
They're not set off, oh, flashlight on in there. They're not set off by your phones, like K2 meters. All right, if you can see me, can you turn one of these lights on? Let me know what room you're in.
I like that because you can line them up in front of
Is it
the
okay if I
doors
sit
or the
down?
specific
Sit down.
cells
I'm gonna sit
and
down.
get
Mhm.
more
Yeah,
direct
nice and easy.
responses. Like,
It's a great tool. That's you.
All right. Is Barry Bowling here with us?
Barry Bowling was another one that was lynched.
Jerome Boyd?
yeah, he would have been lynched during the time when the jail was only 2 stories. So that's why we were asking
about
that
Sheriff?
on that floor.
Ellis. Yeah, they might not like me sitting out here. Can you line up the light in front of room number 3?
Were you a trustee inmate? Do they trust you?
And I got to say, we were having so much fun with these tripwires that after we had tore everything down, we kept the tripwires sitting up while we were tearing stuff down. We were getting responses as we were going up to the 2nd and 3rd floor
Uh-huh.
with those tripwires every
you a
time we would
sheriff?
come through.
Anybody want to play some cards? What's that? They just turned both lights on in there in the kitchen. I think they want to play some cards in the kitchen.
Did anybody in here know Rhonda Bird? Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Rhonda
All right,
Bird,
thank you.
just for some
I'm going to
context,
stop
yeah.
that while you talk.
Uh-huh. And 2 down here.
Rhonda Bird, for some context, we actually have that newspaper article upstairs in the cell, and she was actually brutally murdered, raped and murdered. And it seems that for some reason that article is a very hot topic with our spirits. Teams that'll come in and read that article tend to get a response. There's one night where Miranda and I were up there by ourselves. We just, we decided one night just to go up and start asking questions. And we asked the question, who knew Rhonda Byrd? And we got a mail response saying, I knew her. We were just up there goofing around and we didn't have a voice recorder going, but it was a very audible response inside that foyer where those lights are. So for some reason, that article tends to be a trigger article here in the jail. And it's almost guaranteed that something will be set off when you start referencing Rhonda Byrd.
And that's a perfect example of that, of how they weren't going off at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's mentioned, I actually want to just kind of jump back a second on that, because I mean, to me, that's pretty telling.
Yeah. Did anybody in here know Rhonda Byrd? Yep.
I mean, there was
So we
three.
had 3 of them.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
So we had one down here?
Uh-huh.
And we
two down
have
here.
gotten
Thank you.
voices that have said, I knew her.
Mhm.
And
So just to make sure, did you know Rhonda Byrd?
that's a good question, Nancy. I would actually
You involved
like
crime
to
involving Rhonda
hear
Byrd?
more on this, of how you would use those
You
mirrors.
just know her.
I don't know if you're talking about like mirror scrying. I have done scrying before,
Do you know who killed
Um,
her?
not here at the jail, but I would be interested to talk to you more about what your thoughts on experiment to try with some mirrors.
Who's the shadow man that pulled, both of those lights again in there. Who's the shadow man that pulled the picture off the wall down here? Can you give me his name?
Are you a woman? Did you know any of the women inmates?
What cell were the women kept in down here? Do you know?
That sound like-
You just kind of sound like a grunt. Can you whistle for us? We've been hearing a lot of whistling. Can you?
I can't whistle.
Is there a shadow person that stays on this floor?
Who is the man that likes to walk up behind people and watch them? We've seen you.
Thank you, David.
Thanks, David.
We know you've used your energy to turn on these lights. If you can hear us, can you do it again, please?
Would you like for me? Yes, ma'am. Would you like for me to go into one of these rooms? If you would like for me to go into a room and leave your space right here, please light up the light in front of the room that you would like for me to go into. Well, you guys are quiet tonight, except for in the kitchen. Oh, they just turned their light off too.
Time is now, said hi, Miranda.
Hey Chuck. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in.
You know how it is, it's one of those things, you might get activity, and you might not when you're doing a live.
I think actually we got a couple of things that are pretty cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, I was actually really impressed
Sure.
with the activity we got.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, we can get the SLS too if you want.
Okay, I'm gonna set that up. So I'm gonna actually, while mute that for a minute while we're setting that up. And so, again, we had a bunch of tools set up already. And so we had the SLS fully charged, actually had it plugged in.
For a couple hours before
Yeah.
we started this.
Uh-huh. And then just to make sure things didn't drain, had it plugged in while it was in there in the kitchen. So it was really odd that as soon as we turned it on, I mean, there's just times they don't want to be seen, or times they, want to react with certain tools and times they don't. Again, this is a very common thing in the kitchen. Those two flashlights, if we have it there on that dumbwaiter system and up on that corner shelf there, they'll just go back and forth with each other. Also, the pans that are hanging up there, it's not uncommon at all for the pans to start swinging and clanging there on the center shelf or center rack. That is a very common thing that people have gotten there. But what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get the SLS camera set up. And of course, just going to show it because, again, sometimes it's the things that don't happen that I feel like validates when the times that it does happen. So just going to play that just for validation purposes.
That is pretty common in here.
And for some reason, I feel like right around in here, there's a disembodied voice too.
All right, guys. Let me just kind of try to calibrate this. Give myself a lot.
Again, you really want to keep the SLS as static as possible because if you're continually moving it around, you do run the risk of getting false positives. So that's why we try to sort of orient it to a spot, stop for a little while, and do it like that
You can see that. Is that
to
pretty
try
clear?
to cut down on those false positives.
Now, if you move in front of this, we can see you. I'm gonna switch these around. I won't spend too much time on this because it may or may not do anything. So we'll go out here in the hall.
We were hoping to be able to use the SLS together with the trip wires.
All right, guys. Sometimes people will see a figure in that right side there. Can you show yourself? If you're down here?
Real quick, Lisa, the picture that flew off the wall was right over there.
Who is the woman that says help?
I mean, we're not even getting false positives in the doorways.
Standing back there. By door. See, this is reversed. Will you shine your light there, Chris? Oh, he's not. Okay, so it's reversed. So that's going to be the left door.
Yeah.
That's right where the picture was torn off.
Oh, you kidding?
Oh, I had
What?
this whole thing plugged in for an hour.
Hour.
Are you going to show yourself?
It just got really dark.
It did get really dark.
Like dark, dark.
I can't believe this didn't.
It didn't even give me a warning. It just,
Wow.
So apparently they didn't want to be seen. Right, so we're in here. Can you light up one of those tripwires out there? Light up one of those colors? let's try this in here then, because Chef Dan seems to really want to talk to us. So Chef Dan in here likes to do some different.
It feels like they quit
things.
talking to us even in the kitchen at
We've
this
got
point.
2 flashlights here. I know flashlights have.
So I'll fast forward it to the outside part.
but
Sure.
I
Okay.
have a hard time explaining how this happens. And they've been 1, 2, 3. Please turn your flashlight on. I want to turn mine off. Can you turn your flashlight off? Yes, thank you. All right. Now, I'm gonna step back just a little bit because I don't want to be in your space. All right, on the count of 3, who's gonna turn the flashlight on first? 1, 2, 3. Turn your flashlight on.
Yeah, it got really quiet here.
Mhm. And normally they're a little more active at this
Yeah.
when we do that. So let me.
A little different. But turn your lights on one more time.
Was it?
Turn mine on.
Did I go too far for the voice
Can I get
I don't
you
remember.
to turn your
or the
flashlight on?
scream?
And then you to turn
I don't
yours
know.
on?
I'm not sure where that came from or where that was at.
Okay, we'll just start right here.
Okay. Thanks, David.
Yeah, thank you, David.
That one over there turned on. That's weird that that SLS died. That thing has been charging. Well, I don't know. Also something else that does happen in here from time to time, the pans will move.
Okay, I know where it happened. I was reading the. Whoops! What in
Whoa,
the world?
What happened
Can
there?
you move one of those pans?
I have no idea. I don't know if that played through or not.
Can
I
you
don't
make
think
one
it
of those
did.
pans sway?
What are you trying to
I'll
find?
give you a
Okay,
second.
so I was in reading the Rhonda Bird article,
Okay.
and that's when.
Yeah.
Oops, I'm sorry.
All right.
Okay, I'm just.
We always tell people to look at what's going on around you. When you get certain words, because they do like to talk about what's going on around you. Can you tell me what this is? If you can see me, what am I pointing at? Can you give us a name? Officer said the bloodhounds interrupt and leave.
Oh, there it is where we were
Wow.
in.
All right, I'll
Arrested was
There we go. So this is the Rhonda Bird article.
Yeah.
terms and faster. Officers said they discovered a bloody footprint in the bedroom, 2 bloody prints in the kitchen leading to the back door. 2 bloody.
Whoa, here we go.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the tripwires went off.
All right. 2 bloodhounds were brought in at daybreak from Brushy Mountain State Prison at Petros and reportedly tracked the assailant's scent through a wooded area and then past the covered bridge to the Winona community.
Both flashlights in the kitchen are on.
Okay. Officers said the bloodhounds interrupt and leave.
Wow. All right, I'll stop interrupting.
I'm just glad they call me lady. Let's see, officers said the bloodhounds stopped at a trailer where Phillips resides, about 2 miles from the victim's home. The suspect was not at the mobile home. However, officers said, having just been stopped at a roadblock on Minot Road a short time earlier by Deputy Sexton, said that the person, I'm not gonna say their name unless they want me to, said that he immediately noticed that he was somewhat nervous and that the step from the car, he immediately noticed blood on his shoes.
All right, whoops, sorry, gimbal went dead.
You want to set that up? Is that okay?
Yeah.
So that scream is right after this, when the gimbal died.
This said alleged in details. It's kind of interesting. We were given the details. Officers said the victim was found fully clothed except for her shoes, and said that despite the suspect's prior, I won't say the word on here, because I don't want to get named, arrest, robbery may have been the motive for the incident. It was theorized that Miss Bird, the assailant, may have felt. What was
The
that?
hell was that?
You hear that?
Yeah.
What was
Okay, I'm gonna play.
It was almost like a scream and then a man.
Yeah, here we go.
It's kind of interesting. We were given the details. Officers said the victim was found fully clothed except for her shoes, and said that despite the suspect's prior, I won't say the word on here, because I don't want to get named, arrest, robbery may have been the motive for the incident. It was theorized that Miss Bird, the assailant, may have felt.
Scream.
Yeah,
And then the man's
The
voice.
hell was that?
I just want to play it.
We're going to play it one more time. Do y'all hear this? It sounds like a scream and then a man's voice.
I won't say the word on here, because I don't want to get named, arrest, robbery may have been the motive for the incident. It was theorized that Miss Bird, the assailant, may have felt.
The hell was
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
What was that?
As soon as you said the name Miss Bird, it screamed.
that? What was that scream?
It took my breath away in that moment.
Did anybody else hear that?
Oh, God.
What is that?
It's your,
Oh, my speaker.
yeah. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
It's wild. It actually turned the speaker on.
It's been turned off.
This scared the crap out of me.
It's been turned off.
I know.
Maybe it wants us to do the spirit box.
I don't know. That was some type of a screech or a scream that came out of that box. I think it came from here.
I don't know where it came from. It was turning this on.
It's not
Crazy.
uncommon.
Well, something happened, right? We're gonna have to go back and listen to that because something screamed. It sounded like a scream.
It's not uncommon to turn stuff off,
All right, folks. Did anybody
but
else
to
hear
turn
that
it on
scream?
is.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you guys so much.
That was crazy.
Maybe we'll try the spirit box in there.
All right.
Now, this is pretty cool because this is saying garden, bar, and ledge.
Let's see here. Amanda heard it. D Hoot said yes. Thanks, guys. Mitchell said when we visited, my son felt a strange sensation come over him in the women's cell.
Goodness.
Okay, you need to warn a sister before that you turn that on. Mitchell said he heard a screech too.
Okay.
Addie thought she said Lewis. It said Lewis. That was crazy.
Yeah, we actually got a few responses on the spirit box.
Oh, yep. Look, do you see him?
Yeah, okay. Can you give me your name?
Lisa said, "Don't do that." I agree, Lisa. Thank you.
I had this thing turn down.
Janet said, "Rest in peace at your buds." Right?
Oh, there's
Oh, there goes the tripwire.
and the flashlight too. All right, who screamed?
Right, D Hoot?
I did.
I did.
Wow, okay.
Why? Why did you scream?
Why did you scream? Are you hurt? What is that in there? Looks like a light shot across the room there. Just so people know what that is.
Can you touch one of those purple lights on the floor again, please? To confirm that you know we're here?
Are you a woman? Are you a man?
Yep.
There we go.
Thank you.
Okay, no.
I love these tripwire things.
I do too.
All right, so you confirmed twice that you're a man. Did you know Robert Goad?
Oh, this light, both of these lights just came on. You're surrounded by lights right now. Did you hurt someone? Oh, look at that. All right, so you did hurt someone? Did you stab them? Flashing, right? Did you shank them in here? No? Are you in here for stabbing someone? Ooh. What year is it for you?
It's something, but I couldn't tell.
I don't know what that said. I have to go back. What year is it for you? Huh,
Oh, it said 70.
okay. Is it 1970?
Randall said, "I'm here, Huckleberry."
That's a good question, Mitchell. I don't know the last.
Somebody's saying hi to you.
What does
Death.
all the external sound do?
No, because there are so many inmates
Says Addie
here,
Cook.
we don't
What
know.
now?
What does all the external sound?
Because there were so many inmates here, we don't have the exact records of like natural deaths and such. We do know that in the 80s, there was a woman that committed suicide in our drunk tank. And that's probably the last one that I know of, but we can't be certain on that because we don't have a lot of the prisoner record or inmate records. So-
Right. And then some of them too, there were natural deaths that happened at the hospital
Mhm.
and or that they were actually proclaimed dead at the hospital, even though they died here.
Mhm.
I know I talked to one guy whose grandfather did die here, but they have him listed as dying at the hospital. So it's kind of
just
hard
hard
to
to tell.
say. Yeah. Yeah. But we do know of a couple suicides when those happened. A lot of those happened in the 70s and 80s. But when it comes to natural deaths, it's kind of hard to say. The last lynching though was 1933. And I'm trying to remember, I'm not sure if there were any other voices on this part, but there is one that I want to check out when we went. It was at the very
Very end,
end.
down to the drunk
Yeah.
tank. Yeah.
So again, we are going to be re-releasing this and I'll have the captions and all that stuff on it. this week, hopefully tomorrow, but probably Tuesday. So I'm actually, because this was a 2-hour live, and in the past we've sat and gone through the entire episodes. Since these are 2 hours and we're really just kind of trying to hit the highlights and kind of talk about it, I'm going to go ahead and skip to the end of that because there were some things that happened, but there's still probably about 20 minutes here.
Yeah, it was right at the end. Like right, we were
Yeah.
just
So let's kind of see where we're at and what's going on.
We've been going for 2 hours now.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. I don't know if
Can you put the light on yourself?
can you hold the thought or is that asking too much?
Nope.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
That'll work. Sorry.
Okay.
Spotlight.
So thank you guys so much for watching tonight. Thank you so much for watching this season. This has been a really special season highlighting these old historic jails, showing the new life that they have now with the museums and chambers of commerce and everything, but really sharing a lot of the activity that's happened this season. If you've not watched the past episodes, you can go back and catch up on those. This Thursday night, we will actually be live talking about this episode, as well as talking about the jail and some of the history and some of the things that's been captured tonight. We will replay that. So thank you all so much. We really appreciate that. Already working on season 6 and some cool things that's coming up for that, which will be next October. But after this month is over, we're going to be continuing with the Thursday.
The hell was that?
Okay, let me play that.
On those. This Thursday night, we will actually be live talking about this episode, as well as talking about the jail and some of the history and some of the things that's been captured tonight. We will replay that. So thank you all so much. We really appreciate that. Already working on season 6 and some cool things that's coming up for that, which will be next October. But after this month is over, we're going to be continuing with the Thursday.
yeah.
Hell was
Yeah.
that?
That was loud. Yeah.
The other thing, I realized I went a little too far. I kind of wanted to show this right quick.
What was that?
There's definitely movement in there somewhere.
Mhm.
Wow.
That was crazy. That almost sounded like a man belching,
That's what it sounded like.
like right behind you.
Maybe he was a drunk man in the drunk tank belching.
That was crazy.
Okay, so there was the flashlight
Maybe
that
it's not
rolled,
Sully.
which was weird. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know if
It
it's.
was right after you came in.
She does.
EDI in here or in there?
In there,
Let's see.
just right there in the dark. What it looks like. So we're gonna go dark again, and Miranda's gonna put a REM pod in
There
there.
we go.
Eggs.
Oh, you gotta go
Thank you.
that way.
By the drunk tanks. I'm without a flashlight at the moment, but I guess I could just hold on. Let me see.
I think it was after I
So when you
put.
come back down.
There it is.
Wow.
That's Sally playing with her mouse there, but that was crazy. All right, so REM pod and K2 in here. It's
Oh,
rolling.
wow.
You see this?
Here.
There we go.
I'll put the REM pod in here too. Can you see if that lights up?
I can, but I'm more watching this flashlight roll.
Oh, really?
It's rolling.
Can you move that flashlight?
Look at that thing. It's
Oh,
rolling.
wow.
You see this?
Look at that. Can you push that harder? Holy crap. Is that seeing that?
I think so. I mean, y'all, I don't know.
No,
if y'all,
I see it moving.
yeah, it's rolling. I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up. It's crazy.
Can you push that again? Just lightly push
Yeah.
that.
Huh.
It's kind of hard to translate over the camera, but it was definitely rolling there in the moment.
Sally playing with her mouse there, but that was crazy. All right, so
Yeah. So, so that's just a little bit of a taste of, you know, the 2 hours of the season finale of season 5. And, you know, again, I know a lot of you that are in here, you actually watched it that night. So I really, really appreciate that. I mean, it's awesome when, you know, when you guys tune in and participate with us. So hopefully maybe in the upcoming year, there can be some more lives at some different locations. I know I love doing those. I always kind of keep the location secret and don't usually do lives because I'm going to highlight them in the episodes. But, you know, whenever we're able to do that, it really is something special to be able to get that activity live and in the moment and experience it together. So, so again, I thank you guys for this season, making it wonderful. If you've not watched the past episodes, go back, check it out, share it, you know, help us, you know, kind of get the word out about some of the stuff we're doing. And again, be on the lookout for the re-release of the first hour and the second hour that's going to be put up on YouTube and on Facebook here within the next couple days. That will have everything transcribed and stuff. So,
And then if you want to come and experience the jail for yourself, as Miranda said, we have dates available. If you don't see a date on there that you need, call us. We can work on a schedule for you. But come and experience for yourself. It's a very active location and it's a very historical location. So we'd love to see you out here.
yeah, definitely come check that out. We will be releasing our brand new season, our new calendar of events. Yes. Like I said, brain fog. We will be releasing our brand new calendar for 2023. That will be probably normally we release it in December, but you guys are sharing a moment
Yeah,
here.
we're having a moment. She's high-fiving me. Yes, Lisa, this is Sally. Come here, Sally Bean. People want to see you. Go, Sally. Sally.
I mean, y'all are sitting there like high-fiving.
Oh, she's our
and
girl. This is Sally.
she gets camera shy all of a sudden.
Yeah, she did a high five. Yeah, she loves doing that. She'll just sit here and high five you.
It's funny. So she'll high five. You've probably seen some of the photos that we put out. We've trained her to where if we say Sally picture or Sally photo, she knows she's supposed to pose for photos. So when we get our group photos from people, they tend to want to she tends to want to be in the pictures, and so she'll pose when we're doing that, and she'll get upset whenever we don't take her photo after getting her to pose.
Yeah, so come and meet Sally at the very least.
Yeah. So I totally don't even know what I was saying. Oh, I know what I was saying now. It's kind of distracting when Kat starts high-fiving beside you. So anyways, yes, we're going to be releasing our new calendar of events for you guys to go ahead and start booking. Normally we do that in December, but we may actually go ahead and get that put out a little bit early. You know, if you want to surprise somebody with something for Christmas, you know, book an investigation. That would be very much appreciated by us as well as other folks that get to come and investigate. So, so yeah, be on the lookout for that too, to open up here in the next little bit and book yours. Also, our events are guided ghost walk or guided ghost hunts, our ghost walks and flashlight tours that's coming up for the season. Those will be released this week. And then also the Gelathon that's going to be coming up this Friday. This coming Thursday, provided nothing happens, we've got a great guest lined up for Thursday night. We're going to be back in the Ghost Biker Garage, picking up those artists, actors, investigators, location owners, seeing what these folks have been doing. We're going to be getting back on normal schedule. Was going to take a little time off, but probably not going to do that at this point. But next week, we've got, if you enjoy The Walking Dead, we have actress Sonia Thompson, who is one of the zombies from Walking Dead. She's also been in quite a few different films. She's going to be on. She's also she also likes to investigate. So we're going to be talking about some of her haunting experiences, as well as some of the shows she's been in and what it's like to be a zombie on The Walking Dead. So definitely want to check that out, 9 p.m. Eastern time this coming Thursday. Couple other questions here. Lisa says, what would you say is the most interesting thing that has happened at the Scott County Jail? Ooh, that's a good question.
Really, on a daily, like I said, on a daily basis, we have some interesting things happen. The shadow figure that we captured on film, that was pretty interesting for me. And then actually seeing the shadow figure on the 3rd floor, that was pretty cool. And then the disembodied voices that we have here are always very compelling.
Yeah. I mean, just how responsive they are, and just how intelligent and aware that these entities are that are here. I've totally got to agree with Christy on that. I mean, shadow figures are something that's very, very common here, as well as voices. I mean, you'll think somebody has actually come into the building, and you're not. You're totally alone.
Yeah.
Janet, that's a really good one about the picture that flew off the wall.
Unexplainable.
Yeah.
You just can't explain it.
Yeah. I know we've got some more evidence from some of the teams. We always encourage the teams to send us evidence. And now that the Halloween season is over with, we're going to be able to get to some of that evidence that some of the different teams have sent us. I know the team last night captured really cool photo that we can't wait to showcase. And if you like looking and seeing some of that stuff, come and do one of our flashlight tours, because we show and highlight a lot of evidence that our teams and stuff have captured on our flashlight tours. And then Mitchell says, how do I order Ghost Biker merchandise? That is a great question, Mitchell. So you can order Ghost Biker merchandise from the Ghost Biker website, www.ghostbikerexplorations.com. I think everything except for my new stickers, as well as the new hoodies here, are on the website, but this will be on the 1st of this week. And if you get your orders in now, you'll be able to get those before the Christmas season. I'm not sure when shipping times get kind of crazy, but I think it's after Thanksgiving it gets a little bit dicey on that sort of thing. Also, if I'm an artist and do drawings, if you are looking for that special something for someone, a little touch of art, you can see some artwork there on the website as well. And again, that's www.ghostbikerexplorations.com. We'll also put the links there on the Facebook page as well. So thank you for asking on that. I think we've pretty well summed up the season, summed up the season finale, and listen to me ramble through my fog tonight. So thank you, Christy, for coming on.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's always a blast. What you got some interesting things coming up at all that people can look out for?
Well, just for Soul Sisters, I'm working on the next episode from Madison Seminary. So hopefully that will be in the works here in the next few weeks. I'd love to get it out before the end of the year, but it may roll into the first of the year. Already have some investigations lined up. We'll be at the hospital on College Hill in the spring. Looking forward to that.
Great place.
Yeah, very excited for that. And then some other investigations throughout the year next year. So yeah, just keep. Oh, and other landmark legends and lore.
Yes.
Episodes. We'll have some of those as well.
So definitely go check out Soul Sisters and their videos that they do. They always do an amazing job with the history and the investigation. That's why I enjoy collaborating with her. And the other Dr. Sumner.
Yeah, the two Dr. Sumners. Yes.
You know, they put out great videos. So definitely go check out Soul Sister stuff. Check out historic Scott County Jail stuff, www.historicscottcojail.com. Hopefully soon we'll be coming back with our podcast, The
Yes.
Jailhouse Informant. We've had a lot of people requesting that. We did take a little break starting in July. Took a little longer break than intended to, but been busy, which is a good thing with here. So hopefully with the colder weather coming in and everything, we'll be able to start that back. And that will be on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, I think that we're working on a little bit of season 6, going ahead and getting a jump start on that as well. So, but anyways, thank you guys again so much. We will see you coming up this Thursday, and hope everyone has a wonderful week.
Good night, everybody.